The first time I saw my own signature on a $250,000 loan I never signed, I was standing at our kitchen counter in my work clothes, holding a foreclosure notice with my name on it. The letter said our house, my house, the one I bought 5 years before I even met my wife, was collateral on a short-term business loan that had gone into default. The problem? I'd never co-signed anything for her family. Yet there it was in black and white. Adam Cole, co-borrower. Same spelling, same middle initial, same address. Even a signature that looked almost like mine. Almost. From the couch, my wife Lily called out, "Everything okay? You've been staring at the mail forever." I stared at the bottom of the page again, at that shaky imitation of my name tying me to $250,000 of debt I didn't know existed. "Did your dad take out a loan recently?" I asked. Her head snapped up. "Why?" I walked over and handed her the notice. Her eyes skimmed the first lines, then the color drained from her face. "Oh," she said. "Just that." "Oh. Oh what?" I asked, keeping my voice steady. "Because according to the bank, I'm about to lose my house over a loan I never agreed to." She swallowed, twisting the paper between her fingers. "Okay, just calm down," she said. "It's not what it looks like." I laughed once. "It looks like my name on a $250,000 loan attached to my deed." She started talking fast. "It was supposed to be temporary. Dad just needed a cosigner for a short-term line of credit. The bank insisted on collateral, but his credit is shot from the pandemic, and you've got the best score. So you asked me." I cut in. Silence. Her jaw clenched. "I knew you'd say no," she whispered. "You're right," I said. "I absolutely would have said no to tying my house to your father's print shop. That's what boundaries are." Her eyes flashed. "He's not failing. He just needed help. It's family, Adam. You're supposed to support family." "I did," I said. "I let your parents move in when their lease ended. I covered their groceries. I paid for your dad's heart meds when his insurance lapsed. That's support." I held up the letter. "This is fraud." She flinched at the word. "Don't call it that," she snapped. "It's not like I was trying to hurt you. I signed for you." It was a couple of pages. The banker barely looked. "You what?" For a second I thought I'd misheard her. "I used your signature," she said, voice small now. "You leave documents all over your office. It's not like I forged some crazy thing. I just copied it. Dad promised he'd pay it off in 3 months. The business was about to turn around. And instead," I said slowly, "he defaulted. The bank called the loan, and now they're coming for my house." She opened her mouth, then shut it again. I thought about our wedding photo in the hallway. Her dad, crying like he was so grateful I was joining the family. I didn't realize he saw me as a walking line of credit. "Why didn't you tell me?" I asked. Lily's eyes filled. "Because you always say no when it comes to my family's money. You act like they're leeches." "They forged my name on a $250,000 loan," I said. "Leech is generous." She started pacing. Okay, listen," she said. "Dad has a big contract coming. Once that pays out, he can get caught up, the bank will back off. We just need time." "Lily," I said, "they've already scheduled a foreclosure hearing." I tapped the line with the date. "Next month. They're not backing off anything." Her eyes skimmed the page again and widened when she finally registered the courtroom address. You're not really going to fight this, are you?" she asked. "That'll just make things worse with Dad. With my mom. Can't you just work something out with the bank? Refinance." There it was. Not, "I'm sorry I forged your signature." Just, "Can't you fix this before my parents get mad?" I took a breath, because yelling wouldn't help. "Here's what's going to happen," I said. "Tomorrow I'm calling a lawyer. Then I'm calling the bank's fraud department. Then I'm getting copies of every document with my name on it. If you and your father signed anything pretending to be me, I am not going down with you." Her face hardened. "Wow," she said. "Good to know where we stand. My dad tries to save his life's work and your first instinct is to throw him under the bus." "He dragged me under the bus?" I said. "You handed him the keys." She stared at me like I'd turned into a stranger. "You're being dramatic," she said finally. "This is a misunderstanding, not some crime show." Then she turned and walked away, taking the foreclosure notice with her. I let her, because if she thought this was just a misunderstanding, she had no idea what was coming. Neither did her father. Neither did the bank. And none of them knew that tucked away in my safe was one boring document I'd signed years before that was about to blow up their plan and save the only thing in my name they could still take. But I'm getting ahead of myself. The next morning, I was sitting in a lawyer's office instead of at my desk. If you've never had to hire a lawyer because your own spouse forged your name, it feels like going to the ER for your marriage. The attorney, Patricia, listened without interrupting while I laid everything out. The notice, Lily's admission, her dad's failing print shop, its family guilt. When I finished, she steepled her fingers. First, she said, you did the right thing coming here immediately. Second, stop calling this a misunderstanding. It's fraud. And third, we need to see the paperwork the bank has. Can they really take my house? I asked. If your signature were real, she said. But if we prove it's forged and show the bank they failed to verify properly, they'll be a lot more motivated to unwind this quietly. They do not want a fraud scandal. That's when I told her about the document in my safe. 3 years earlier, my identity had been stolen in a data breach. Someone tried to open a store credit card in my name. After that scare, I'd gone down to my bank and signed a very boring, very specific instruction. No new loans, lines of credit, or liens in my name without me present in the branch with ID or on a recorded call to my personal cell. Patricia's eyebrows shot up. You did that in writing? She asked. Yeah. The branch manager had a form. Bring it to me, she said. Now. I went home on my lunch break. Lily was at the kitchen table with her laptop, a half-eaten bowl of cereal next to her. Where are you going? She demanded when she saw me heading to the bedroom. Getting something from the safe? I said. For what? You're not seriously dragging some lawyer into this. I already did, I said. And I'm dragging the bank into it, too. She followed me down the hall. Adam, stop, she said. You're overreacting. Dad will fix it. Going nuclear is just going to make you look bad. I spun the combination, pulled the metal door open, and took out the plain manila folder I hadn't touched in years. This, I said, holding up the bank form, is me going nuclear. She frowned. What is that? The reason the bank never should have approved that loan with a fake signature, I said. And the reason I'm not losing my house over your father's decisions. For the first time since I'd shown her the foreclosure notice, she looked genuinely nervous. Can't you just not use it? She asked. We're married. This affects me too. Yeah, I said. It does. I walked past her, adrenaline buzzing in my veins. At the bank, Patricia and I sat across from a very tense branch manager and a corporate attorney they'd brought in from downtown. The manager, Collins, kept adjusting his tie while Patricia slid copies of their own signatures across the table like she was dealing cards in a game they'd already lost. Mr. Cole signed these instructions with you present, correct? She asked. He nodded slowly. Yes. After that identity theft issue, I remember. And you scanned this into your system? She asked. Yes. And yet, Patricia continued, your loan department approved a $250,000 secured loan in his name without him present, without a recorded call, without ID, using a signature that doesn't match anything on file. She pulled out the foreclosure notice and put it next to my bank card application. Even I could see the difference. The forged A on the loan looked like a child copying homework. This is a serious procedural failure, Patricia said, on top of a clear criminal act by someone at the borrower's side. Now, we can either resolve this quietly, or we can litigate and see how a jury feels about your safeguards. The bank attorney shifted in his seat. Mr. Cole's wife indicated he consented. He started. His wife also admitted to my client that she used his signature because she knew he'd say no. Patricia cut in. That's recorded. I didn't even know she'd started recording my conversations until that moment. Apparently, when you say my wife forged my name, good attorneys hit record as a reflex. The room went very quiet. Finally, the attorney cleared his throat. Our priority is to ensure an innocent customer isn't harmed, he said carefully. If we can confirm Mr. Cole did not sign these documents, we can remove him from the loan and the lien from his property. Patricia didn't smile, but I could tell she wanted to. And the foreclosure? She asked. We'll halt proceedings as to Mr. Cole, he said. The business and the other borrower will remain liable. Translation, they would still go after Lily's father. On the drive home, I should have felt nothing but relief. My house was safe. My credit would survive. But all I could think about was the look that was going to be on Lily's face when she realized the bank was coming for her dad, and there was nothing left in my name to grab. Part of me hoped she'd finally see how messed up this was. Another part already knew what she'd actually do. Blame me. And that's exactly what happened when I walked back through the front door. When I came home, Lily and her parents were already in the living room. 3 cups of coffee on the table like they'd been holding a war council. Her dad's face was red. Her mom's arms were folded so tight her knuckles were white. Lily stood up as soon as I walked in. "What did you do?" she demanded. "So many options," I said. "You'll have to narrow it down." "The bank called," her dad snapped. "Said you're no longer a party to the loan. They're coming after my business directly. Seizing equipment. Liens. Lawyers." "What did you say to them?" "I told them the truth," I said. "That I never signed. That someone forged my signature. And I showed them proof they violated their own policy." "You're really going to hang me out to dry like that?" he shouted. "After everything I've done for you?" I almost choked. "Everything you've done for me." I repeated. "You mean living in my house rent-free? Eating my food? Using my health insurance? Or forging my name on a $250,000 loan?" "That was your wife," he shot back. "She did it for the family. You're the one who ran to the bank like a little rat." Lily's mom nodded. "A real man protects his wife's family," she hissed. "Not throw them to the wolves because of some scribble on a page." "That scribble could have destroyed my life," I said. "My credit. My house." And Lily knew that when she did it. Lily's eyes flashed. "I made a mistake," she said. "But instead of talking to me, you went behind my back and sicked lawyers on us. You're making this worse." "You forged my name," I said. "There is no behind your back left." We went in circles. Her dad insisting the bank would have worked with us if I'd kept quiet. Her mom accusing me of emotional abuse because I wouldn't put everything back in my name to fix it. Lily crying, then yelling, then crying again, bouncing between daughter and wife depending on who she wanted sympathy from. At one point she actually said, "If you loved me, you would have just refinanced like they asked." That's when something in me finally snapped. "Stop," I said. Even her mom shut up. "I loved you when you were broke," I said. "When we were eating ramen and splitting rent in my tiny apartment. I loved you when your parents moved in here and turned my guest room into storage. I loved you enough to say no to anything that would put us in a hole we couldn't climb out of." I held up my hands. "And you loved me enough to steal my signature and gamble my house on your father's business without telling me." Silence. Lily's chin trembled, but she didn't deny it. "Here's what's going to happen," I said quietly. "The bank is taking my name off that loan. Your dad can deal with his own mess. And I'm calling Patricia back to talk about a separation." Her mom gasped. "You're leaving her? Over money? Over fraud," I said. "Over trust. Over the fact that every time your family gets in trouble, you all look at me like an ATM with legs." Lily stepped toward me, eyes wide. "Adam, wait," she said. "We can go to counseling. We can fix this. Don't blow up our marriage over one mistake." "One?" I asked. "This started the day your parents moved in, and you started choosing them over us every time a boundary came up. The forgery was just the first time you put it in writing." I went to the bedroom, pulled out a suitcase, and started throwing clothes in. Lily followed me. "Where are you going?" she asked, panic creeping into her voice. "To my brother's," I said, "until we figure out the legal side." "You can't just walk out," she said, grabbing my arm. "You're abandoning me when I need you most." I gently pried her fingers off. "You abandoned me when you picked your father's signature over mine," I said. "The rest is paperwork." I left that night. My brother Jake didn't ask many questions. He just handed me a beer, pointed to the guest room, and said, "Stay as long as you need." Over the next few weeks, Patricia filed a formal fraud complaint with the bank, a police report, yes, against my own wife and father-in-law, and a petition for divorce. We requested that the court recognize the house as my separate property, since I'd bought it pre-marriage and could now document that Lily had tried to encumber it without my consent. Lily's response came through her new lawyer a week later. She wanted the house, half my retirement, spousal support, and, for good measure, they accused me of financial abandonment for refusing to assist with her father's debt. Patricia slid the paperwork across her desk to me with one eyebrow raised. "They really put this in writing," she said. "Good. Judges love context. When do we see a judge?" I asked. "Soon," she said. "They're already setting a hearing date. And when we walk in, we're bringing that same boring bank document and your wife's little, 'I used your signature' confession." She smiled for the first time since I'd met her. "Her family used your name to chase money," she said. "Now we're going to use their own words to keep your name off everything they think they're entitled to, including your house." Our court date landed on a gray Tuesday that matched how I felt. Lily sat across the aisle from me, put together but shaking. Her parents were right behind her, glaring. Judge Morales flipped through our file. "We're here to divide property and address financial misconduct," she said. "Counsel," Lily's lawyer started. "Your Honor, my client has been financially abandoned," he said. "Her husband refused reasonable help for her father's business, then removed himself from a loan he'd agreed to, leaving her family in crisis. Mrs. Cole is simply asking for a fair share of the marital estate, part of the home, support, and retirement she helped him build." Patricia stood. "Your Honor, the crisis is real. The cause is not Mr. Cole." She held up 3 papers. Exhibit A, the $250,000 business loan listing Mr. Cole as co-borrower. Exhibit B, Mr. Cole's instruction filed with his bank 3 years ago. No new credit or liens without his in-person consent or a recorded call. She passed it up. My neat signature sat under the branch manager's. "And Exhibit C," she said, "an audio recording of Mrs. Cole admitting she used his signature because she knew he'd say no." "Objection," Lily's lawyer said. "Recorded without consent. In our state, one-party consent applies," Patricia replied. "Mr. Cole knew he was recording." "Overruled," Judge Morales said. "Play it." Patricia pressed play. "My voice, you what?" "Lily's. I used your signature. You leave documents all over your office. I just copied it. Dad promised he'd pay it off." The judge raised a hand. "That's enough." She looked at Lily. "Mrs. Cole, did you sign your husband's name on that loan?" "I copied it," Lily whispered. "I was just trying to help my dad." "So you forged it," the judge said, "and used a house that is not in your name as collateral." Lily's eyes filled. "I thought we'd pay it off before he ever knew." Judge Morales sighed. "Mr. Cole purchased the home before marriage," she said. "It is his separate property on paper. Normally we'd discuss marital contributions. But here, Mrs. Cole attempted to secretly encumber that property with a forged signature. That is a serious breach of trust." She turned fully to Lily. "You are not being abandoned, Mrs. Cole," she said evenly. "You are facing consequences." Her gavel tapped. "The court awards the marital home to Mr. Cole as his separate property," she ruled. "No spousal support. Each party keeps their own retirement and personal accounts. Mr. Cole will not be ordered to assume any portion of the business debt associated with the fraudulent loan." Behind Lily, her mother hissed about unfair. Her father stared at the floor. When we stepped into the hallway, Lily caught up to me. "You really just let them do that?" she asked, mascara streaked. "You let them take my house." "It was never your house to gamble," I said. "You put it on the line behind my back." The judge took it back off the table. "I'm going to have to move in with my parents," she said. "Dad might lose everything." "You're fine. You still have a house, a job, your credit." "How is that fair?" "Because I didn't forge anybody's name," I said quietly. "I didn't decide your dad's business was more important than our marriage." She wiped her face. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I thought I could fix it before you ever knew. I never meant to hurt you." "I believe you," I said. "But intent doesn't change impact. You still chose them over us." She didn't have an answer. A few weeks later, she moved the last box out. Her father's shop went under. The bank took the equipment. From what I've heard, Lily is back in a small rental with her parents, telling anyone who'll listen that I ruined her life. Meanwhile, I kept the house for a year. At first, it felt like living in a crime scene. Every room reminded me how close I'd come to losing everything because I couldn't say no to family. Eventually, it just became mine again. I fixed things, painted, slept through the night without listening for someone else's disaster. Then I sold it, not out of spite, just because it was too big for one guy who finally had some peace. Now I'm in a smaller place, working, healing, seeing people who don't treat my signature like free money. I've learned that generosity without boundaries isn't kindness, it's self-destruction. "We're family" is not a magic phrase that makes fraud okay. Do I feel bad that Lily ended up back with her parents? Sometimes. But if that boring document at the bank didn't exist, I'd be the one bankrupt right now. She and her dad would have dragged me down and called it love. So no, I don't regret walking into court with that paper and letting the judge see exactly who tried to use my name and who refused to let them. What do you think? Was I too cold for letting her face the fallout from her own choices? Would you ever sign a loan for your partner's family? Or is this an automatic hard no? Let me know in the comments. And if you stuck around to the end, Don't forget to drop a like and subscribe for more real stories like this one.